welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to JIS Studio 58A here at the Jamaica Information Service. Thank you so much for joining us. And as we continue with our Reggae Month series of interviews, we have in studio here with us one of the most acclaimed singer, songwriter, producers coming out of Jamaica, a man who's responsible for countless songs. I mean, it's too much to list right here at this moment. But we're here talking with Mikey Bennett, head of Grafton Studios Limited. That's that right?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you're very kind with the singer claim, but
all right. Now, based on what I already said, you have some singing credits to your name. You know,
I was a part of a singing group, so
okay.
But I'm a songwriter producer
primarily.
Yeah.
All right. So we always do the background thing first. It's always good to begin at the beginning. So, where did the interest in writing and just where did the interest in music as a whole begin, and then how did that morph into writing and then producing and so on?
Well, like a lot of young people, the church was where I realized I had some talent. And church, I think more than any other place in Jamaica, offers that opportunity for people with talent or who have to express it, with that on a weekly basis, So I was used to go to church and then formed several boys groups, so I learned to sing harmony. Mm-hmm. But we're always singing over the covers, the popular covers. And one day I decided to write a song, and it didn't turn out too bad, and people started to think about it. And I remember telling my mom, this is a story I've said before, that I would dream about songs at night and wake up and
some divine inspiration.
Yeah, well, and the next evening I came home, my mom had bought a notebook and a pen and tie it onto the bed. So she said, if you get it again, just get up and write.
Okay.
Then she proceeded to tell me that one of her uncles used to do the same thing, and he was in his time, quite famous in his community for writing all these little, these little small short songs and short stories. So I guess I owe somebody to DNA.
Okay, cool DNA. So it seems to be like a family trait.
Yeah, because I have a son now, Nicky B, who is
doing things,
doing really
reggae,
good.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
so proud of him.
All right, so how did you hone the craft? How did you, having realized that you have this knack for it, how did you go about developing it into something that you could become professional with?
Well, writing is rewriting, and I think I am a lover of words. I was always into books. I used to get almost punished for reading.
Really?
Yeah.
Punished for reading?
Yeah, for going to bed. Going to bed or turn on light before when.
Unusual, but all right.
Well, not punished but reprimanded. Then.
Right.
It kind of seems strange, no?
Yeah.
But I used to hide under bed with flashlight, reading Hardy Boy book and thing. So when I was growing up, we didn't have TV 24 hours, so we read.
Yeah.
And we read and we read and we read. And I fell in love with words, and I fell in love with stories, and I fell in love with a composition. I think it also helped that my aunt was in charge of the parish library.
Okay.
And so every
books
week
were available.
Every week we got a set of books to read, and I had not only to read it but to give her tell her what the story was about.
Okay.
My mom was an English teacher at KC as well, so it was a part.
So
and
the
then
arts have always been something that you're familiar with.
Yeah, and then there was a level of conversation at my dining table, the worship. That was like everybody was not only encouraged. You had to say something. You had to say something every day about something. So I grew up being encouraged to express myself. And first of all, to express in English, because
that's where it begins.
Pata wasn't allowed in my house when I was growing up. No. Not from kids.
Well, that's actually not unfamiliar. That's actually pretty common, especially from a particular generation,
exactly.
yours in particular.
So we hid and spoke Pata to our friends, but not in front of
the parents.
No, the older people.
Very good.
So I became very comfortable in communicating, both in Patois and in standard English. And then I found that I was drawn to the Stevie Wonders and the Paul Simons and the writers of that time. When I became introduced to pop music. So there are a number of individuals who kind of identified it. The most notable one is Mikey Chung. And Mikey Chung is one of the real brilliant musicians of our time. He used to play with Peter. He was a guitarist with Peter Tosh at one time. He used to play with Sly and Robbie.
Yes.
Now generation band. And I used to write these lyrics. I couldn't play an instrument, and I used to take the lyrics to him for him to, help me put music to the melody that I had.
At what age was this around?
This was like about 12.
Okay. At that
12,
age, you're
13.
seriously thinking about adding music to
Yeah.
lyrics, and you could hear the song in your head
I
already?
started at KC when I was 9.
Okay.
And his brother and I were in the same class. And so when I was 12, 13, I was probably in third form. And they had just formed a band. I mean, sometimes we think about these ages as in Jamaica. That is, a lot of people have already identified them talent
That's true.
long before
That's
them
true.
30.
That's true.
When you look
That's
at these programs that come up and you look what we consider now, these little exceptions, most of us kind of identify certain talents. I mean, both
That's true. A lot of
athletic
persons,
coaches,
yeah,
football
yeah,
coaches,
yeah.
music people identify from that age group. So I think because he was part of the whole music fraternity, he realized it. And
So, I mean, what kind of lyrics were you penning at that age?
not,
what kind of
not
things?
very good. No, if I look back at them, not great, but it was more than a lot number of other people.
Songs about life at 12, about girls and stuff like that. Or
Yeah,
just-
some of them are about, but a lot of them was just about other stuff,
Okay.
Like I said, so when I really started to seriously write with him was probably in my late teens. 'Cause I left KC, I went off to college and I came back. And by this time they had left school and were, serious musicians. And I used to go to the studio with them just for fun. And the studio bug bit me. And I'd be in studio and, hear people writing songs and just start to correct people things. And I got a little reputation as somebody who could write some lyrics and things.
All right.
So on one occasion, I wrote these 2 songs and took it to him. And one of them he said, I work with this group named Home Tifo. I think they would do well with this song. And when I heard the lead singer Bagger Case sing the first 2 notes of the song, I said yes.
All right.
I could see a career path. I could have seen myself writing songs for this particular person to sing. And by this time, I could have played like a piano and a guitar. And so I was kind of in charge of rehearsals.
Was that a little young and naive in the sense that, one of the things that you hear is that things weren't really that organized back then in terms of making sure that writers and so on get the proper credits and so on?
Oh God, we weren't thinking about it.
You
I
weren't thinking about that?
No, I wasn't even thinking about doing music as a career because I had a really good job. And music was just something that
You just did because you loved it.
Loved it. I never thought about, yes. It was much later.
Right.
Gussie Clark introduced me to publishing and stuff,
Okay.
I saw we can talk about it later on.
Right.
But it was for the love,
All right. All right, and that in that early stage now, that was you really honed your craft by just being in the studio, watching the persons, do what they need to sing, play, write, and do the whole thing, and that was what really gave you that inspiration to keep doing it?
Well, by the whole process of comparison, because like I said, Paul Simon and Steve Wonder, Bob Andy were my idols as writers. So you compare the song what you wrote to what they wrote and how they wrote. And it was good and bad in a sense because I found myself being attracted to that kind of vague kind of lyrics of Steve Wonder, that kind of highly philosophical
in the
thing.
sky.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
And started to judge even the Jamaican music around me from those
Based
kind
on
of
that kind
lenses.
of standpoint. Okay.
Yeah, and even my mother used to listen. Your lyrics, your song them too complicated, man. The ordinary person not gonna understand it. And I felt offended, but I got to understand what she meant later because she was an English teacher and she taught third form. She said, and she was saying they're too complicated. You need to learn to simplify the stuff. And as a songwriting teacher, coach now, I'm telling them exactly what my mom used to tell me. Don't be so complicated.
All right. Now, so what was your first professional project that you can remember working on? With a writing, writing, and then I guess later into production itself.
The first professional product was with Home Tifo. With that song, I wrote a song called "Too Many Irons in the Fire," too much irons in the fire, and I don't think anybody outside of the music industry can understand what it means to be in somewhere and hear that song being played on the radio for the first time. It was like It was like I was hearing it. It's like I was expecting something to change. I knew, we had listened to it over, so I knew note for note. But I was listening it like I was listening for the first time. And
goosebumps,
all kind of thing. I couldn't function. I could not function for the couple of minutes where it was playing, and even after that. So it was just, wow. How do you ever get used to this?
You have to tap that or keep going after that.
But that was so you heard it played one time, and then of course you're listening, and of course it's not playing for another, and it plays, and every time it plays, one of the members of the group would call and say, I heard it there. But the first time I understood what it meant to have a song, I'd written Make the Christmas Catch in a Good Mood.
Yeah. That one, that's everybody's supposed to know that song in the Jamaica.
And it was late, they say. I remember the Joe Gibbs them said it was kind of late because it was done way in December. And normally you have the song out from November.
Give that good lead time to build some buzz and that kind of thing.
And one morning I just woke up and heard the song. And every turn I turned for the day, I heard the song. And it was, the excitement was still there. And you're driving on the road and you hear people playing through cars and things. But the most significant thing I don't know, I went down to Joe Gibbs record shop down in Parade, was selling the stuff, and I was up in the office talking to Errol, and I'd hear them start to play the song, and the guy selling it, and every time they start to play the song, they stopped and think. And in my naivety, I said to Errol, why don't we play the song?
Play the whole song.
So every time you hear that, somebody just bought a song or bought a box of songs. So these were like shopkeepers coming and buying it. And let me tell you, I went downstairs and I sat for about 2 hours and watched people buying the song. Now, there's another thing that this generation probably kind of don't have nothing to compare to, right? Except probably likes or, and downloads.
On social media,
but
that kind of
I
thing.
sat, and it was probably so good for me because, and I tell my students, you have to imagine an audience when you're writing. So you can have a little, in other words, who you're communicating with. And that day I was able to see who were the end, the end users of the thing. So I saw people buying it, and it was not who we expect. People were coming. They're, right by the marketplace. Market leaders was coming and say, "Oh, why not?" I'm picking up one, and I'm saying, I never even thought about you when I was writing the song. And none of the people that I thought about, my age or so, were buying the song. A lot of them were being bought by, people with record shops coming and buying and give me $2 of that. And I sat there that way and watched thousands of the songs being.
Thousands?
Thousands of the songs being.
I can imagine that must have felt like you're on the top of the world.
Yeah, it was a brand new feeling, first experience. And I used to always pass on some musicians out there and I was trying to figure, why they just hanging out there? No, I understood why. It was a kind of, it was your research, so you could know
how many people.
And that is why people from that era probably had those who were successful. There's a sort of almost arrogance to them because they knew
how big the songs were, how big everything was.
They knew when they were selling 40,000, 30,000 records, what it felt like. So it was not a question of whether things were being padded and all them kind of things. So they weren't making the kind of money that people, but they had this kind of thing. Yes.
Yeah, your song hits. Outer Road, people buy your song.
Yeah, man, and there's nothing like that, that feedback that you get. So listen, yes, this one hit the spot.
So how did you make the transition into production now?
Oh, that was probably the easiest thing. I realized right early on that, listen, first of all, I didn't even like to hear my own voice. So when I did a demo, I was just dying to hear Bagga sing it or somebody else sing it. The production thing is a natural thing if you really care about the song. You see, by this time I started to play some instruments and kind of arranging the song.
So were you still working, or this was still a hobby at the time, or you decided to go and pursue it full time?
I went into serious production after I stopped working.
Okay.
So I got an opportunity presented itself for me to stop working and take try to do a thing, music full time. And I had some money and I gave my mother some because I had 2 children at the time and and I said, listen, I have an opportunity to do that thing. Here is 2 years worth of money. Keep that. If after 2 years nothing happened,
Coming back fight.
I start
What?
sending out some resume. No, this was money to
just
take care.
take care of things in the
Yes, I
meantime.
put myself on a really tight budget to live by. I said, listen, whatever happened, that money is for my kids and things sort out. And she said, all right. And within that 2 years, it started to happen. And I saw David Radigan on TV this morning, and David Radigan is very, I mean, without him, he probably knew, because we spoke. Gussie Clark, who was a school, friend from KC, came to me one day after we had written an album, or most songs on an album for Home Tea, and said to me, David Radigan say, you write tune. I don't know say you write tune. And I say, yeah. I say, boy, him say, and him call him the white man. I say, boy, the white man called me and say, must get you to write some songs for Dennis Brown, because Dennis Brown could have used a good album now. And oh God, I mean,
it's well.
So he had not heard anything that I had written. So he went and him got the album and him called me and said, but you're bad, man. And we say, hey, all right, cool. So in the meantime, while I'm arranging the Dennis Brown thing, I could go on to some stuff. So J.C. Lodge and Pam Hall and Diamonds. And the songs then started to churn out. That is when I really started to write. By this time now, I'd met a friend. I was actually working at Jammy's, cause I'd gone to Jammy's to do something, and Jammy saw me arranging the vocals and some home tea stuff. I said, listen, now man, you have to come work with me. So, I mean, I was free.
Of course.
So I started to work at Jammy's, and that was my university. That was where I really understood the difference between us writing songs and making hits, and an audience. I mean, one of the significant things about my life at the time is that I'd sold my car and everything, and I was back on the bus after many years, not on the bus.
Really?
And this was the age of Pinchers and Admiral Bailey and the whole of that hit, that Jammy's thing.
A whole set of people for the youngsters to go and research. I mean, this is
key
Jamaican artists, just as little homework.
No, Pinchers to me was, I mean, such an impact in Jamaica. You're on the bus and it's like 5, 6, 7, 8 songs Pinchers play, and then I see how Jamaican was reacting to Pinchers. And I started to figure, why, how? And then Pinchers came around the studio one day, and a lot of these artists, they have this idea for a song, like the first verse and second verse, a first verse and a chorus, and come in, and they kind of write the rest of the songs while they're in the studio. And of course, I'd be putting in my little thing. And I was telling him something, and he wasn't getting it. And in his critique of my lyrics, I understood exactly that. Listen, that's not how you communicate with the masses. And I learned so much from this. The rejection.
Imagine you telling big Pinchers how he must construct him song and stuff like that.
Yeah, because, I mean, I was a university educated person in English. So I figured, boy, grammar, the most important thing was the grammar and the this and the that and the alliteration. But no, he might have story to tell about something that happened last night, and he must have tried using the words that painted the most vivid pictures of what was taking place, and he was in touch with the street, and he was in touch with the ordinary person. The difference between him and me, I was trying to impress people with my lyrics.
Okay.
He was just trying to connect at the heart source. And I said, oh. And it was at Jammy that I think I really found that medium going. So between being, because there's a thing about being fake, being authentic, being fake, and connecting.
Yeah.
So the inspirations would come same way, but the words I used to convey them came out a little different. And that came from being in the presence of people who was mashing up radio. I mean, Joseph Wales and Admiral Bailey and Cocotti, and you're encouraged day to day, I mean, Admiral Bailey come tell Jammy, say, listen, boss, anytime I voice, I want this man in the studio because, he might use some different. The other thing about it now is that because I wasn't from the street, I wasn't as cliche as a lot. Because I mean, all us
You
listen
bring
to
a
it,
different perspective.
and we hear the same lyric.
Yeah,
but
you hear
when
some
they
same
converted
phrases and so
the what I was bringing into the street, it became even more beautiful to me. And I was saying, okay, so I learned a lot from that, the various artists.
All right. And let's move back now to being the producer, Mikey Bennett, the producer, and how did so after you leave from Jammy's and you start with Gussie Clark and trying.
Well, it started while I was at both, because
Okay.
everybody have their own style of producing.
Yeah,
And
mhm.
when you write, when the average person, when I write a song, I hear certain things. I hear certain chords, I hear certain arrangements, I hear certain tempo and things. When you have power brokers like top session artists, whether it's Steely and Clevie or Sly and Robbie or whoever, when they come in our studio and the producer say, listen, we want to make a couple of rhythm tracks today. A lot of time them have, them is listen, we're gonna make some rhythm tracks. So, and it's not all the time when you're an artist, when you're a writer, I think without, in other words, when you go into a room, a creative space, the person with the biggest credential just almost take over. In other words, so
That's
whether
true.
so
Alpha Dog just comes
yes.
up and
so if you're
takes
a,
charge.
I mean, I don't get that kind of thing now because I'm an established songwriter, but them as a young songwriter. So man said, nah man, about it on bridge and no, them card too much card and we could simplify it, and a lot of times it worked, But as the kind of creative side, I said, listen, yeah, but I don't like do it another way. I want to take some chances. That led me to production because I wanted to treat my song them more like, I wanted the end product to
To reflect
resemble
what you had in your mind.
little more.
All right. Okay.
So of course you went and you lost out $100,000 trying running on that till you find that okay,
this is what it sounds like.
But
all right.
my thing is, I think I'm not the greatest musician, and I'm not the greatest arranger or technical person. But I think the best description the thing that resonated with me, I have an instinct for songs, for how I want it to sound, and for a good period of the time, it has served me well.
It has served you well.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you prefer any vocation more than the other? Do you prefer writing more than producing, or is it like a harmony between both of them for you? Is one that you get more excitement from or joy from?
There was a team I was working with once where I would just make sure that the song went down the way I wanted, in terms of the lyrics and the melody went down. And I would just leave them
Okay.
and come out the next day, and my mind was blown what they had done with it production-wise. And I'm saying, wow, this is just the best of both worlds. I'm not the patient one who can sit down all night and make sure you get two things right, two little technical. That's not me. I like the creative space where the ideas flow, and I would say, yes, here are the lyrics. I like to do the voicing. That is my thing. I mean, that is where I don't let up very little control in terms of who do the vocals for my production. Right. I take voicing very seriously. Harmonies. I love horn arrangements. I love that part of it. But the other parts, all right. And now with this new era where people making rhythm tracks and give Senior to write, I resisted it for a while. But now I find that, well, I think I don't have to think about which key or which key. It is there.
The thing, and you can just create the song.
So I've learned to do that and learned to actually enjoy that as well.
All right. So in terms of, does the music still come to you in terms of you find yourself just walking down the road and a tune or a lyric just comes to you and says, is that the process for you still, or how is the process for you now?
It is the same way. It's just that because I've done it so many times, I'm able to kind of categorize these inspirations that come as to whether it's something that came before. Because you're walking on the street, you see different. You see the same thing. Anywhere you live, there's a lot of repetition in our lives. So when the new thing come, and sometimes it's scary or frightening or something, should I wonder if anybody would take me serious? It happens. But I'm inspired by vocalists. Right. When I find a young vocalist that good, it's like, that's when my brain starts to really, really work. And I guess that is from the whole Jammy's thing and the Gussie thing, when you're working with the very best vocalists in the island. And I'm stand up in front of you and I'm just, this aura and this, when you play a chord and I'm sing something, it's like,
the goosebumps.
Yeah, and the adrenaline pumping, so all your creative energies just jump through.
So let me ask you, when having been in the industry and been working for this long, what does reggae music mean to you? What, in terms of reggae as a genre by itself, and knowing that we're celebrating Reggae Month and observing it, and what does reggae music mean to you? Because of how many years you've put into it and helped to kind of push it
Jamaican
globally?
music. I brought it to Jamaican music.
All right.
'Cause, I didn't even know where reggae started or where it stopped.
Okay.
Jamaican music is the soundtrack of my life, most of our lives. And I am at pains to not to limit it to anything that either past or current, because it is the way it is the way we think, it's the way we feel, and it's the way we honestly resonate with the world around us. So one of the things that I love to see a little more is that we were more true to the melodies that came to us, instead of trying to force it on a reggae rhythm or force it on a dancehall rhythm or force it on any kind of rhythm, because the rhythm of Jamaica is our rhythm.
Yeah.
And I'm all for the youngsters experimenting all kind of things and whatever. I don't even have to call it anything. It's a Jamaican expression, and it's hard for us as Jamaicans to sing something or perform something that is not Jamaican. Even when we're trying not to be Jamaican, there's a part of us that just defy all that and say, listen, but there's just the accent where we're using or just the rhythm of our lives here. But I'm an ambassador, self-proclaimed ambassador for Jamaican music. I love it, and I love the Jamaican. I don't love the business of music, but I realize how crucial it is.
Yeah.
So I teach it, and I use my own stories,
and so on.
And I am not afraid to say I don't know, but what I say, but I can find out within 3 phone calls for you.
Okay.
So I'm really not into the expert, and I realize right now that we are all at pains to monetize this great product that we have.
Is that a good or a bad thing in your estimation?
At right pains to do it?
Yeah.
It's a necessary thing, because the digital world has brought some challenges with it that we never expect. It has brought some advances in terms of disseminating and quality and thing, but the same thing that was so good for us has made it impossible to stop people from using it for free.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have to find...
That's one of the big problems that we're facing.
Yeah, but the thing about it though, with the problem came some good sides, because a youngster can stay in his bedroom, create a thing, it is within his resources, and send it out to the world. And within a world, it can be trending.
Exactly.
And within a month, 3 months, it can be earning, and be on the way to become. So, it's a way, it has cut out middlemen, and it has allowed the creativity to just flow.
Right. So many persons are wondering about the state of reggae right now. Some persons think it's dying. Some people think it's experiencing a rebirth with new artists who are focusing on that roots reggae kind of music. Where do you come down on that? What's your impression of where reggae is right now?
Well, reggae, it's like life. Life is about cycles. Life is about waves. If you stay on the beach, you see the waves coming and that is how life is.
The ebb and the flow.
Yeah. So music, especially in this day, are personality-led commodities. Pretty much like sports. So it was Michael Jordan, now it's then Kobe Bryant, now it's LeBron James, and the Cavaliers. So music is really about people don't just go to stage show because a reggae show is happening. It's because you're able to name some celebrities. So it is based on individuals. So it's sports. So what you find now is that what I think we don't have that Coxsone Dodd had was to look out in his the yard of his studio and see the likes of a Dennis Brown, a Delroy Wilson, a Bob Marley, I think.
They found him,
Yeah. So there at that time you had few producers chasing probably a lot of artists. Now it's totally reversed.
Yeah.
But I don't think ever again no producer have that kind of luxury and that quality of vocals. So we're talking about some of the great vocals of the world, not just Jamaica. Because when you think about a Dennis Brown and a Delroy Wilson and a Ken Booth and a John Holt, these are just alternatives. These are classic singers who can stand up with anybody in any genre. So that was what it was in his thing. And then I remember now that he had a set of the Scatlites who were jazz musicians, who, in an effort to make the thing more Jamaican and thing, brought all the musical knowledge I want, brought all the experience of the street and thing to thing. So that was the thing. So what I think what Jamaica is in need of right now, that is not here, just that is a template that, you know, does some research, try to find these young people, encourage them to come and provide a training program that can, pretty much like what track and field does.
We're going to get into that mentorship.
But that is what I think, in terms of the thing, I think we the melodies, if I was to have, my biggest problem with popular music right now is that the melodies are too similar.
Okay.
You know, you
same
can't.
Drum patterns, rhythm patterns. Things
Yeah,
like
and there's the melodies, and I think what is that, because I think singers, this really good singers, have not taken up the challenge of maintaining the excitement the way the DJs or the singers have.
Okay.
You know, them become singer, them have voice pretty, so them just, you know. But when you think about somebody like a Sizzler, the kind of chances him take on records,
that's true.
It's like him exciting, and him not say, boy, I mean, he's not a singer, so I'm not going. Him trying everything, and you know, so him bring this interest to the whole thing, as opposed to people who just
staying in their lane and just doing the same thing over and over again.
But then no, what happens is that because of that now, and because we don't have the natural, we call it now nets, we call it now quality nets that we used to have, because everybody can put out anything. We have too much mediocre things that slip into the cracks that sound so much alike.
Exactly.
Same melodies.
Because the barrier to entry is so low, anything can cross the border.
You can almost there's a them song about them, this and that, and then so if there's a mama song, there's 1,000 mama song. That's have the same melody.
Just find these categories.
Yeah, with friend.
Mama song, bad mind song,
the bad
thing song. All right, okay.
So it's very easy. So. And every now and then the Chronics come out with this breath of fresh air of melodies and topics
like
and things.
This frustration with the state of things, the sameness is what kind of spurred you to get into the mentoring side of things, to see if you can culture the young artists to appreciate.
Without that, and a reality that we weren't monetizing the music as much as we could. And in the present situation where people never buy records the way they used to buy before. There's gonna be streaming and everything, but we weren't capitalizing on the theater of Jamaican music. Dancehall is a big theater, you know, and people flock to dance because, and you see the videos, things that take place. I think if and when we are able to capture all of this, capture the magic, capture the sparks, the fire, the sex, all the thing on stage in a way that will produce. And so artists have to come to the point that, listen, I've kind of maxed out where I can do with the audience. And if I really want to get a bigger audience than my hardcore fans, I'm going to have to put a little more. I don't know if you saw the NFL, the Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay.
And the halftime show. And Justin Timberlake show. And you realize, so listen, somebody planned that show. In other words, there was not 5 seconds of that show that didn't seem planned with, and just for excitement. In other words, Bruno Mars is to me is a youngster to look to know, and you could see a lot of elements of his show in Justin Timberlake's show. And and then I've had the benefit of traveling and seeing how young people add a reggae song to them thing. I mean, non-Jamaicans, and what they do with it. And I realized that, listen, we're not geared for a non-fan audience then.
Okay.
We just cater to the fan.
We need to experiment a little more and see what we can do with the music.
We have a natural thing for theatre, but we don't study theatre because we think I don't know what we think about theatre, but theatre to me is almost should almost be a prerequisite for to go in the music industry. Okay. So because people realize it when they're on stage now. But what you do is that when you're on stage and you see the person before you burn out certain thing and get a forward and do certain thing and get a forward, and you say, I have to do that to our jump. and you start to copy.
So there's no stage presence and different
Yeah.
kind of
And
thing
you
to
don't-
bring a difference
Yes.
from what the artist before you was doing and
So
that
instead
kind
of studying it, I say, why did that happen? What did he do? What did he communicate to the audience in that moment when he said that, or when he jumped that way, or when being the man? Dan, what is he? How is he connecting? So in other words, how will I connect with the audience? And maybe you need somebody to help you with it.
So it sounds like performance is your real bone to pick. You want to see the performance
Performance.
raise the bar, the performance
Yes.
levels just raise, apart from the whole jump on the stage to the
Ex-
first 3 lines and say dash or pull up or something like
The
that. And they do the whole
important
thing over
word
again.
is the experience.
Mm.
That is what people remember.
Mhm.
And that's why people keep going to certain places. Last time I was there, but there's a restaurant or a play, them had a good experience. Every time them think about going to a play, them smile because the last play them went, them laughed and them belly hurt them.
Mm.
They keep going back.
All right.
And so no, that performance thing is, I think, the most important thing right now.
All right.
In
So talk to me about your the Master in Residence program and how that is specifically helping to mentor young artists, young upcoming artists.
Well, the Masters in Residence program is a program offered at UTech under the Fluid Jamaica program,
Mm.
which was, and the philosophy is Jamaica is for all of you. So it's the Master in Residence Global Competitiveness. So I was asked to come with a try to identify something that the music industry needed in the light of some of the negative thing that was coming reports that we were getting from overseas. People were saying, boy, listen, the music is in danger of imploding because of what it is being associated with, all of the negative things.
Mm-hmm.
And there was so much more to me. And my thing was, listen, if we go down that route, we're going to just trying to patch up things. Let us provide an alternative, that thing that says, listen, let us say to young people, here is a positive way that we think you can take the thing.
Mm.
So the first thing that we had to do was to come up with a template and see if it worked.
Mm.
In other words, so the template that we came up with was, and like I said, we went straight to track and field. What does track and field do? Track and field go in and say, listen, okay, we're using coaches. We find people who know what this thing is all
Different
about.
disciplines. And
So we can break. So in other words, so you have the start. So when they did the audition, we never get as much of the talent as we want, but we got a good enough sample. So first of all, so we identify everybody. We recorded everybody right up front. This is who you are when you say you go on stage.
Mhm.
This is your performance today, and we're going to put you through a series of programs of performance coaching, and keep tracking your progress through the thing, and see how you have improved from one thing to another. And that is for the performance thing. So we identified the three things weak about Jamaican thing was performance, songwriting,
Mm-hmm.
and the engineering, technical thing. Because, I was tired to go to thing and see when the foreign people and perform, it sounds so
Clean
great.
and crisp.
And when the Jamaican thing, it don't sound so good. So I realized, we realized early on, however, that the time period that we had wasn't enough. So what we really want to be concentrating on in the future is master classes.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time encourage other institutions to start more preliminary basic stuff. But the thing was that coaching and mentoring offered. So we identified several people throughout Jamaica as masters, and we have the master drummers, we have the master singers, the master writers. So we identified people like the Bob Andys and the Ernest Smiths and the Toots and Sly Rabbies and people as masters, and we've engaged them and said, listen, we've started this program. What would you like to see taught?
Mhm.
Whole thing. Can we identify it to our students as masters, and would you be willing to mentor them, come in and talk? And everybody said yes.
All right.
So based on the feedback from them and what was their pathway. A lot of time, some of them admit that, listen, but we never know what was going on. But if we could do it again, here is how we would do it. And this is what we think made the other people great.
All right.
And when you hear how Jimmy Cliff speak about what make a Toots great or so, you realize that there's been this respect all along and they kept pushing each other even without even telling each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we found that the hardest thing was to find performance coaches, because nobody has ever done it before.
Giving it that kind of...
So we had to settle for people who, like drama, people into drama and things. And we lucked out because we found a really good performance coach, Philip Clark. He's the director of culture at UTech. But he had dance groups, he had been plays, so he understands. So the whole thing is just break back everybody down to, in other words, take you right back down to your core and find out who you really are and build you back from there. In other words, that confidence and that, So, and there are some basics about stage that once you learn, you never unlearn.
So how do persons, if they're interested, is it something that persons who are interested in now can get involved with and be a part of going forward?
Well, we're not sure. It's fun. It was funded by USAID, and that particular project comes to an end in May. So we have one cohort that finished last year, and the other one second one now, which finishes in the end of May. So I don't know if at the end of the May they decide, based on Mr. Trump, if they decide to continue the funding, that we could do it.
What?
But I have been approached by a couple of people who say, listen, we can't allow this to stop. So
I was just about to ask. We can't. That sounds like something.
The only thing now is that it's free now. It's totally free at the moment. And the next one may not be able to we may not be able to do it for free. But like I say, I'm the songwriting coach, and I'd been running boot camps for 12 years before. So I've developed a method of teaching writing, and I've honed it even more now, having had one whole year. Yeah, so we have a template now that I know work, and it's something that I'd love to introduce very early in schools. So listen, here is something that works, and this is the writing is really the breadwinner of the music industry.
So to wrap up, this is my last question. What having said all this and gone through all this, what is your advice to youngsters who are interested in coming up in the music business and making a real impact? From where you sit, what is the best things that are the best takeaways that they need to keep with them so that they can have successful careers?
Well, the first thing is to do what I call a self-audit. In other words, you have to be really honest with yourself. If you are the only person, whether in your family around you, who believe in your talent, maybe you don't have as much talent as you think. There are ways of finding out how good your talent is. And you can just listen to great singers. But if you love it, do all the research. Reader, if you want to be a writer, you have to be a reader. You have to read. You have to be into words. You have to check out songs, listen to people's songs. And if you want to be a singer, you have to sing. You have to volunteer. You have to do a lot of volunteer work. That is where you get comfortable on stage. All of the free shows. That is what you need to be doing. Whenever there's a competition or audition going wrong, join it. If you think you have it, is another feedback from somebody who don't know you, who just listening to you, and it might be hard sometimes when them tell you that you're not any good or you don't pass, but at least you get a chance to do it. And but if you really love it, sometimes you think the part of the music industry you think you want to be in, or that's not the part for you. Right. You know what I mean? But talent crucial.
All right.
And excellence is what you have to be after.
All right. I think that should be as much as we need. Thank you so much for joining
us.
This has been a really fruitful discussion. There's a lot that persons can take away and hone their own talent for those who are interested in becoming part of the music business, whether singers, performers, songwriters, etc. You name it. And so I have to all that's left for me to do is just thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. We really learned a lot.
So welcome. Yeah, man.
And for me, I have been your host, Von Davis. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. This has been JIS Studio 58A. Good afternoon.